So we wanted to review a whole bunch of niche ideas. People are always asking like, is this a good idea? Is that a good idea? So we asked you to submit the ideas you had, and several of you actually submitted websites and how they're performing a little bit for us too. And we want to review a whole bunch of those today to help give all of you who are considering a niche or who are trying to refine your niche an idea of what works well and maybe what sorts of things to avoid. So we have 75 niches today we're gonna review. So to make this video not last 3 hours, we've given ourselves a timer. We only get 30 seconds apiece. So that's it, I guess. Let's get started. One little caveat here, don't take somebody else's niche and just like do the exact same thing. That's kind of a bad idea. If you don't know why, watch the last video we put out on this channel. But that's my one main caveat, just do something that fits you. Anyway, let's jump into this now.
All right, here we go. All right, the first niche site here is we have doing hobbies, crafts, gardening, cooking with physical limitations from an occupational therapist. I think this is kind of a cool niche. It does seem very broad. I would wonder, unless you're really taking it from the occupational therapy standpoint, which it sounds like they are here, the range of activities could seem a little bit broad. So I would make sure that whatever articles you are writing, that you cover those topics specifically as it concerns to occupational therapy.
Oh, you made it. Barely. The next one, massage therapy at home. So massage chairs, guns, aromatherapy, sound therapy, etc. I think that's good. The things you put in the parentheses here, those things were all kind of the chairs, the guns and stuff. Just don't get too product focused. And then decide whether or not it's going to be like about massage therapy as a business, or just doing massage therapy is kind of a thing you do. Like, have a focus, something that's going to really fit and work.
All right.
Just make sure you have a good focus. Is it about the business? I guess I went over. Okay, so here's the deal. We forgot to tell you, if we go over our 30 seconds, we're gonna get hit by a water balloon. So here you go.
Okay, 30 seconds. All right, niche site idea 3, how to become a software developer engineer, not about how to code. Okay, my first concern about this niche, I guess, is that how many people are actually going to become a software developer engineer? There's probably a lot of people who are interested in it, who might want to learn how to do it, but not want to do it for their career or something like that. So make sure that as you do your analysis of the niche, that you have enough audience.
Very good. All right. The next one, pollinator gardens. I like this. I think gardening is a really, really broad one. Pollinator gardens is definitely a lot more specific, but I still think there's tons of information to cover. I don't know, I guess we'll see. So get into it. Maybe don't pick a domain that's too specific so that you have room to branch out in the future.
Yeah. All right, niche site idea 5, personal care, self-improvement, niche down for entrepreneurs. This is a very competitive space. And so if you're going to be taking the dive into this, you better be fully committed for probably a year and a half to get your articles to rank. Other than that, there's lots of monetization opportunities, courses. It could be a great niche, especially if you have expertise in the field.
Another thing to keep in mind is that like the self-improvement for entrepreneurs. Never mind, I guess it was your turn. All right, I'm moving on to the next one. Gas-powered scooters. This one, my concern is that it's very much product focused. And so like the topic of gas-powered scootering, I don't know all what I would say. And so gas-powered scooters, yes, you could do a bunch of reviews, but I'd rather pick a hobby where I can talk about the products involved in the hobby, not a product-focused website. So pick a domain that's a little broader that will work for the topic.
All right, insulated food and drink containers. Again, this is very product-focused here, and so you might want to dive into something where you can put in how-to information or guides, that sort of thing, not just product focus. So maybe you want to talk about food or drink itself. That would probably be a better niche than just talking about the products.
Awesome. Everyday carry for urban or suburban people focused on tools and items useful for commute or to keep in the car. I think that's really interesting. When a lot of us think of everyday carry, it's like, what do I carry on my person, maybe in my bag? But including the stuff that you put in your car, I think broadens the niche enough. And then the suburban and urban, I think, gives you a good focus, a good audience.
Awesome.
Barely.
All right, next one is climbing, competition climbing, mountain sports. I love this niche. I think it would be an awesome niche. I know quite a few people who are actually in it, so you never know. Maybe it's a little competitive, but it's it's a hobby. People are interested in it. People will be spending money on gear, so I would say this is a great niche site idea,
especially for someone who's a pro.
Yes,
absolutely. Next one: how to use the internet for newbies, like older people, new smartphone users. I don't know. I have a little bit of a hard time with this one. It feels super duper broad, even though it's kind of focused on brand new beginners. I don't know. It could work, but it's a little iffy for me. I'm also not sure on the monetization for this one, other than maybe software and stuff, maybe as an affiliate, or maybe just straight up ads.
Niche site idea, hanging things on the walls. I think this is a really cool idea. It's very different and kind of unique. We've made some very unique websites about concrete and about other like fences, random things, and they've done well. I think this is a cool niche. As far as monetization goes, are you gonna sell wall hangers? Are you gonna be an affiliate? Like, what? I guess I want to know what the game is there. But overall, everyone hangs things on their walls. A lot of people, especially renters, are not wanting to put nails in their walls, and so and so this could be one that is a great opportunity, a large audience, since a lot of people live in situations like that.
This is fun. Hotel reviews for specific travel destinations like Orlando or specific Disney parks. So maybe the Orlando area or something. I kind of like that. I wouldn't necessarily just do hotel reviews though. I might do a maybe even travel focused site that maybe does focus on places to stay, but I'd again pick a domain name that's more about the location so that you can include restaurants and other sort of insider hacks. A lot of people are just going to pay for the expensive resort and not necessarily know the ins and outs of the cool things they could find if they were willing to look around a little bit more.
All right, okay. Special needs parenting. I think this is a great niche. Of course, this is a topic that could be widely applicable to a lot of people in a lot of relationships. And I guess that as far as parenting goes, that might be niched down a little bit far. I wonder if you kind of broaden it to other relationships with with people with special needs. I think that could be a little bit wider. So I'd say as far as domain name goes, you might want to just make it a little bit broader. This could be considered YMYL. Yeah, I think that's but anyway, I think that this could be a good niche.
Just careful with the YMYL topics.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Pharmaceutical manufacturing. I think the biggest thing for me there is the audience for this is probably not huge. Like how many people are doing pharmaceutical manufacturing and searching blogs for content about it. So I think that's going to be your biggest problem. In a B2B space, maybe it would work really well because you don't need a huge audience to make good money. But again, how many people are looking to blogs to figure out how to manufacture pharmaceuticals? I don't know that that's their primary source.
Okay. All right. Prepping and survival niche. I think this is a great niche. Lots of money to be made here with affiliate products, advertising. You will want to make sure that you keep things PG. You don't want anything kind of too out there as far as weapons or that sort of thing. You might have a problem with advertising. And so there's a lot of people in this niche. You want to also make sure that you do good search analysis. I think that there's a lot of topics that could work, but a lot that also might not work.
That's close. Screenplay writing. This is another one where I think it's a good one. I don't know how big the audience is for it, but if it's big enough, it's one I would be willing to kind of go for. But I might also leave the domain name open enough that you could branch out from screenplays to maybe plays and other theatrical stuff, just so that you have a little bit of room to grow.
Okay, poker strategy, how to play multi-table tournaments. I have very little experience with poker, but I know there's a lot of people that play. I've talked to people with niche sites in the poker space, and they've done really well. Honestly, as far as monetization goes, I have no idea. So maybe Ricky has an idea. Yeah, info product.
That'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Oh, cookbook review site. This one I would have a hard time with. I think a lot of people today who are going to the internet for cooking stuff are just going to find the recipes on the internet, not necessarily looking for reviews to figure out which cookbook is the ideal one for them to buy. The best cookbook is my family cookbook anyway, so.
All right. Micro locks, sister locks, popular type of hairstyle, mostly for African Americans. I think this could be a really cool niche.
Yeah.
Hairstyles. So there's okay, these are YouTubers, but bear with me here. I'm gonna go fast. They have they started as a hairstyle channel and they've become kind of a lifestyle viewership. They have a great website. They've done really well. There's a lot of products that go there, affiliate products, even courses potentially. I think this could be a great niche.
Dog-friendly travel. I've definitely seen some sites in this space. I think there's room for it. I might even branch all the way out to pet friendly travel. So again, leave the domain name broad enough so that if it ends up that you don't have enough to write about, or you cover the topic really, really well, and you just want to grow some more, that you can expand to other pets, cats, and other pets that people tend to travel with.
All right, electric vehicles. Of course, cars could be a cool one. You know, there's so many electric vehicles are such a big thing now. But even like other personal electric vehicles like scooters, bikes, electric dirt bikes, all those different things, that could be really cool. If you remember from the video we did last time, I think it was in September 2020, we talked about this, we actually talked about this same niche, and someone was doing very well with affiliate products. I'm not. I
totally want a zero motorcycle.
Yes.
Fantasy football. Yeah, sure. I guess one of the things I wonder about that too is around monetization. I don't know what sort of affiliate products there would be. I don't know what sort of info products you might do. I guess there's probably room for some around strategy and stuff for fantasy football. But I think it could do really well with ads, and there's a huge following for fantasy football.
All right, civil engineering. Engineering, I think that this is one that could be a good topic. I would be interested to know, as far as search analysis goes, you'd have to come across topics that are applicable to a wide audience of people. Since I know very little about civil engineering and how that applies to kind of your everyday person. As far as maybe you could talk about education, maybe job opportunities, that sort of thing. But other than that, I don't know, I'm not sure.
I'm going to take a water balloon for this one because in the engineering space, and really in anywhere in the career space, I think talking about what it's like working in that career is a good thing, because there's going to be broad appeal for that topic, even amongst people who are considering it as a career path, but who aren't going to become civil engineers. And so the audience for that's really, really big compared to the number of people who actually become civil engineers. Oh!
These water
that didn't pop, so I'll probably get another one. That one didn't pop either. Oh! I'll take it. Okay. Personal productivity.
Oh, sorry.
For university students. I like that you focused on university students. There is a lot of content online about personal productivity. It kind of falls into that self-improvement kind of space as well. And so you might find that it's really saturated. Oh, I got some of that on my shoulder, but I took it to the chin. But you also might want to worry, like there's an artificial distinction here. University students, there's some things about personal productivity that are going to be specific to university students. There's going to be a ton though that you're going to apply to university students, but really it's the same for anybody. And that being the case, like you're going to actually run up against competition you don't think you're competing with. Okay.
All right, health niche, non-toxic, safe, and eco-friendly choices for home. This one, I've talked to a lot of people who have tried this niche, and they've had a very hard time getting it off the ground. A lot of times, Google wants to show things that are very mainstream as far as medicine. Again, we're talking about YMYL, medical things. And so if you're talking about like household cleaner, maybe, like there's products that are all natural, that sort of thing, it could be a good niche. But other than that, you have to be really careful about YMYL.
Ooh, that was it.
Please.
Fantasy books. This one, from an affiliate standpoint, there's not a whole lot you can do. Books are going to earn you pennies a piece. I do think that if you were to do like more of a fan-based site, then maybe like a review-based site, that would probably do pretty well. A lot of authors have really good followership, and so even if you chose a genre within fantasy, I think there'd be a lot of room there, and you can build enough of a following that you can make good money with ads.
All right, fashion jewelry. If you're pursuing this one, it makes me think of like e-commerce. And so if you want to do e-commerce, like an e-commerce site, you want to make sure you have great search topics to drive traffic to your e-commerce store. Just setting up a store for jewelry is not going to cut it. So good search analysis. You're going to earn ad revenue from the content, and then you can also sell the product as well.
All right, financial literacy for Canadians. Another one here where I think you've put in an artificial distinction. Financial literacy is going to be the same for Canadians versus Americans. There's going to be a few nuances, right? Because there's specific things like even the stock market, but also investment vehicles that are specific that have been created for the US. But a lot of it's going to be very similar.
There we go. Self-inflicted punishment. All right,
I deserve that one.
Raising livestock in the backyard for food. There are a lot of people who are getting into homesteading. That's probably what I would call this. And so this is a great niche. I would say, again, search analysis is going to be really key here. There's going to be probably some animals or some sort of area in this niche that's going to be better than others. And so then as far as monetization go, ads will probably do just fine. There's people spending money in this niche. You know, you could even incorporate
Oh, you blocked it.
Okay, you can even incorporate maybe like gardening. You could even kind of pull this out and do kind of the full homesteader thing, talking about food preparation. You probably want to go full prepper, but there's a lot of opportunity in this niche.
Graphic design tutorials. This is something I would probably do mostly exclusively on YouTube. I think there's a lot of room for it, even though there are people doing it really well. There's just so much to learn that there's a lot of space for it, but it's going to be very, very, very visual. Typically when I'm looking for tutorials on this stuff, I end up on YouTube, even if I start searching in Google.
Elementary algebra for kids. Anything for kids specifically is going to be a niche that's with probably lower monetization opportunity. Now, maybe resources for parents or for teachers could be a better way to, you know, kind of direct this niche. But again, as far as products that we're talking about, it could be a really hard one to pull off.
Yeah, it could be. Mealworm farming. Yes, actually, yes. I think it's specific enough, but there's going to be enough of an audience for it. There are specific uses for mealworms for anybody who's like, why would you do this? But also it's one where you're probably not going to encounter tremendous competition. And there are going to be products, affiliate products. You could totally do an info product on this. I would totally do it.
All right, skincare. This is such a big niche, huge industry around this, ton of opportunity for affiliate, you know, even info products. I think a YouTube channel would be really great for this one, just because it could be very visual. It could be considered health related, especially if we're talking about skin concerns or conditions. So you'd have to be careful with that. It could kind of make a longer time for your content to rank.
All right, the next one, mental health blog about personal struggles with mental illnesses. I think this is really tough. A lot of people are doing like personal blog kind of content. You do need to do good search analysis and identify topics people are searching for. People are not typically looking for, I wonder what this person's personal issue with mental illness has been. It's going to be very competitive. It's very much YMYL. So it's going to be a really tough one to do. Honestly.
Okay, I'm gonna take a water balloon for this one because I kind of want to share a couple things here. So I was rewatching the other video that we did 2 years ago. There were a couple blogs in this mental health space that were doing incredibly well. Now that's not to say that everyone sharing their personal experience with mental health is going to do well on a blog. However, if you incorporate a YouTube channel, something like that, there are a lot of people who want to hear other experiences similar to theirs, not just something from a professional or a psychiatrist. That being said, the competition is huge, and I do think that there would be kind of a long run up there. But if it's something you were passionate about and that you stuck with it, and you again use, you know, long tail search terms and that sort of thing to get the topics that would actually rank, I think this could be a good topic. All right.
Next one's still you.
Oh yeah, next one's me. Okay, popcorn. Like popcorn?
Yeah, popcorn.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a fun niche. There are a lot of people who love popcorn. This is a little bit of a niche down site. I'd say that the ceiling on this one's probably fairly low.
Yeah.
Could you corner the market on popcorn though? Maybe. Again, I would say maybe a YouTube channel would go well with this one because you're going to want something a little bit visual.
Yeah. Scuba diving. I think scuba diving is a great, it's a great sport, a great activity a lot of people are into, and there's a ton of stuff around scuba diving. Getting certification, the different kinds of certifications, travel around scuba diving, just tons of stuff you could cover. I don't know exactly how competitive it is. Obviously, I can't do my research right here, but I think it's a fantastic niche. Tons of products. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And now we're on to actual websites that people submitted.
Yes, so these are actual websites people have submitted. We're going to be sharing pretty much everything here.
Yep.
You guys, I don't know if you know how special it is to actually get this sort of information because people don't share this. This is the kind of thing that you want to keep, you know, kind of close hidden. But people were willing to share this, so now we get to share it with you. All that said, let's start my timer. Okay, affordable watch reviews. Affordable automatically just makes me think lower value. And then reviews, watch reviews. I think that this, you're just severely limiting yourself. Maybe you could just talk about wearables, maybe watches, bracelets, wristbands. There's so many health and fitness devices, trackers, rings, that sort of thing. You could do more that, kind of broaden the niche out a little bit. You're gonna probably have a better opportunity there.
Awesome. This next one is air fryers. So And it looks like the website focuses a lot on air fryer recipes. Recipes is a very competitive niche. I wouldn't just do recipes. I would also make sure that we're looking for other search queries that people are searching for around air fryers. Not just product review content, not just recipes. The recipes can supplement all the rest of the content really well, but winning for search on recipes is really complicated, or really competitive, I should say. Okay.
All right, food tour in Bangkok. Okay, this is kind of a cool topic. It is local though. We're talking about a specific place. So I think this is gonna put a ceiling out there, and probably the site owner has probably seen that. But this is also a pretty popular place, so there's probably enough traffic there, at least to do a good amount of business there.
Yep. I'm gonna be willing to take a water balloon for that. I would definitely, if you're doing this in a specific location, corner the market, like know everything, all of the insiders, and make some relationships with the restaurants and stuff there, so that you can, you know, send people their way and earn a commission for that.
Oh, I get to do it.
You get, okay. All-star competitive cheerleading. I think this is a fantastic niche. It's a sport a lot of people are into. A lot of parents that want to know more about what competitive cheerleading is be like, what the time commitments are like, all sorts of stuff. This one is earning a really good income for the amount of traffic they're getting, so obviously it's going really well for them.
All right, amigurumi crochet patterns, little animals and dolls. I think that this is a cool niche. Lots of people are doing this kind of thing. It's in the craft niche. I think that there's a lot of opportunities potentially for maybe social media influence, maybe Pinterest, that sort of thing, to kind of pull in extra traffic. You have the potential to sell things. I mean, there's affiliate commissions, you have products. Everything that you do with this niche could probably be
That's
really
good one.
That was a great one. Good one, Julia. I think that this could be a really good site. Again, I think that a YouTube channel could probably do really well here, especially as far as tutorials go. People who are looking at stuff like this often want to know patterns. They want to get patterns. They want tutorials, and that can be harder to do on a website, harder to show, unless your pictures are super, super good. You know, you're doing original images and really showing people like the different, I don't know what they're called, the different patterns or stitches, that they have to do. So I think this is a cool niche.
Yep. Aquarium or fish keeping. That is a really competitive space. I happen to know we still have a website in that space.
And you have a fish tank, don't you?
And I have a fish tank.
Yeah.
It is a pretty competitive space. There are a ton of pretty big fish keeping websites. So unless, I would maybe pick an area to start with. So if you're gonna do saltwater, maybe you're gonna do corals or something, and you're gonna cover that topic in depth, and then allow yourself to branch out. As it is right now, I feel like this website is a bit under monetized, and so it's there. Nice. So anyway, I think there's room to grow.
We tried to pick a hot day to do this, and it's not quite as hot as I
it's been.
expected it to be, and the breeze is just really great right now.
Awesome.
All right, board gaming. I think that this one has a lot of potential. Board game
Very
people
popular.
are crazy about the niche. Nate, I believe from Channel Makers, he's a big board game guy. We've done board games before, and he brought out, I mean, he showed me his board game collection. People will spend money for that. I think that this is a cool niche, big opportunity, especially since there are so many games and so many people playing them.
Made it. Yeah, so card detailing. One of my concerns with this one is a lot of people who want to learn about it are maybe people who want to do this as a business, which I think is fine. And you can cover those topics, but then cover the topics for the people who just want to learn how to clean their car really well. If you covered both of those audiences, I think you'd have a lot of potential.
Okay, I'll take the water balloon for this one actually, because I think this is kind of a cool one. Car detailing, while it is kind of, it's a smaller niche, I'd say that the ceiling's probably lower. If you kind of threw in some other car topics into that, now that I get that you may not have that skill set, and so that's totally fine, but I think that maybe just kind of, I don't know what you would even call it, kind of an owner's guide to basic car care. I mean, like changing your own oil, doing your own brakes,
Basic
kind of
maintenance.
like, I mean, replacing an alternator, all of those things that like can pretty easily be done by a car owner. It'd be kind of cool to try and tie that in and just do kind of car care. And I know, you know, you've already got an established niche here, so maybe that pivot isn't going to work. But I think that based on the page views that the traffic or that the site has and the monetization, if there is an opportunity to pivot or kind of expand, it could be a cool way to do it.
Oh, your turn.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Okay. Caregiving for the elderly. All right. I'm trying to think. Let's see. This is a very random, I guess, but there are a lot of people in this situation, and so I kind of think this is kind of, I'm gonna get water balloon again, dang it. There's kind of, like, as far as advice goes, this seems like there'd be a lot of advice type of things, and so it could be a good niche. Maybe I'm just a little flustered because it's a little bit wet and cold out here, but yeah, I don't know. It's making some money here, and so I think that obviously the concept is being proven. Sorry,
yeah. I'll add to that.
Yeah,
I think you're going to run into a lot of YMYL topics.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to focus on a lot more of kind of the lifestyle, as well as like practical, elements of caregiving for the elderly, and less on kind of the medical side of it. Okay. The next one, data science. That's another one too, where I think the audience for this is probably fairly small, and so that would be my concern, that it would be hard to ever get to like 100,000 a month, page view a month type website, which means it's going to be hard to generate the kind of income to make it worth it for me. That's my biggest concern with it.
All right, digital marketing.
It's a horrible niche.
It's a horrible niche. I would say stay away at all costs. Probably the biggest thing with this is it's very competitive.
Yeah.
It is a super competitive space to get into, whether it's a website, whether it's YouTube. You're gonna have a hard time breaking in here. If you actually have experience doing it, like relevant recent experience, then by all means do it, because you have something actual to share. But if you just kind of know what everybody else knows and want to start it because you think there's money there, I'd say probably just not the best niche. All right.
She's getting really good at this.
Yeah, man, it gets better as we go.
Dog-friendly activities and places in Salt Lake City. I would probably, and I do think that this works because the domain name, even Salt Lake City, the area, like the whole area kind of gets roped into that, and there's a big enough population there. Fun fact, the actual population of Salt Lake City proper is about the same as Boise. Because there's so many other little small cities that are part of Salt Lake City. So the Salt Lake Valley is like this one massive place, but it's like, anyway, I found that out recently. But no, I think there's probably a big enough audience for this because the whole area has enough people, and people who live in other parts, or the parts of the region roundabout, regularly travel into Salt Lake for their regular commuting and stuff. So there's plenty of audience for it. And anyway, that's my thought. Okay.
All right, dog health and wellness for a specific breed. Wow, based on the page views here and the monthly income, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's good, but especially in comparison to all the other ones kind of that we've been talking about, this is really good. Again, dog people, lots of money to be spent there. I think that breed specific definitely does put a limit on you, but we've seen that even breed specific, popular breeds especially, that niche can be plenty big. There's info products to be sold, there's products to be sold, everything like that. Tons of affiliate opportunities there. It is very oversaturated. There are a lot of people creating those types of niches, and so if you have kind of a unique spin on it, I'd say, especially if you do have that pet, you really should. I wouldn't recommend starting this site if you don't have the dog that you're going to be talking about, because you need that experience.
I love the really brandable URL. I think that helps a lot. The next one, drawing and painting. I've probably reviewed more sites in the drawing and painting space that were really struggling than most other niches. And I think a big part of that is there's so much visual and so much explanation that needs to be done to teach somebody drawing or painting, that doing it on a blog is really hard to do. Doing this with YouTube, doing this with an Instagram, and using the Instagram stories and stuff, I think you have a little bit more potential there. That said, this website has great traffic and pretty good income.
Yeah.
So
Well
congratulations on it. I just know a lot of people are really struggling.
All right, English language learning. This is something that a lot of people, I've again reviewed a lot of sites on this topic. A lot of people with YouTube channels. I think that a YouTube channel probably is key here, especially for people to kind of get to know you. This is something where the education could feel kind of what do you call it, commodity. It could end up feeling very commodity unless you have something very special to share, but they're doing pretty good. The page views are kind of high. The page views are kind of high, and the monthly income is a little bit low from what I'd like to see. And so maybe just work on the monetization a little bit. Maybe it is finding affiliate programs, maybe courses, maybe ebooks or textbooks, that sort of thing. Any of those things could probably help the monetization.
This next one, fast food menu prices. The website here is just really killing it. For anybody looking to get into it, I probably would not, honestly, because it feels like, first of all, the information would have to be fairly constantly updated. But I mean, if you have a team of people behind that are regularly updating it, I think that would work. Oftentimes these fast food websites, their companies themselves don't post their pricing.
Yeah.
And so you can easily outrank the brand because you have the content that they don't. So I think it works, but I don't think there could be very many sites in that space that can do well.
Finance. This is a great niche, very profitable. If you watch any sort of YouTube or follow any finance blogs that publishes reports, you'll see that as far as monetization goes, it's great to be in finance. However, it is so competitive. It's also YMYL. Again, unless you have some serious credential or a lot of experience, I mean, if you've been an investment banker for who knows how long and you want to start something up, maybe that could be cool. I still think you're going to struggle through like everybody else.
Here.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, I mean, finance, this is kind of the niche that everyone wants to get into. But I wouldn't recommend it because it's tough to get into. It takes a lot of time. However, based on the page views and the monthly income, you can see that they're doing pretty well.
Yep, absolutely. The next one, firearms, hunting and defensive. This is really, really, really hard because many advertisers are not willing to be associated with the topic. And so whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on a blog, you can get the traffic, but oftentimes it's really hard to make the money from advertisers. Affiliate products can work okay, but again, you can't directly sell the firearms, and so you got to sell them through an FFL. You can still get a commission for it sometimes, but anyway, it's a tough one to monetize.
Those are the worst.
There we go. Anyway, it's a tougher one to monetize. As you can see here, this website, it's getting traffic, but the monetization is still fairly low. So you might want to look into info products, so those kinds of things, which I think there's actually a lot more room for.
All right, free trials. I guess I don't know anything about this niche. If you're kind of like serving as a directory for people who are wanting to find products and they can actually free trial that they couldn't find anyway or have a hard time finding, this could be a cool niche. If it's shady, I don't know if it could be shady, then I'd say of course stay away, but based on their page views and their income, it looks like they're doing well. I mean, it's a very interesting niche though.
You can often earn a pretty good income because you can earn the affiliate commission, even for people signing up for the free trial.
Yep.
And so oh, that was awesome.
Was perfect.
So anyway, the money's there, and obviously it's there. Garden/backyard birding. That's kind of cool, like ornithology, right? I see that this is a UK-based website, which there's a lot. I think there's a lot of ornithology people in the UK, just from the TV I've seen, British shows. But no, I think that's pretty good. Obviously, this is probably a newer site based on their traffic and income. It can be tough though to find great ways to monetize this other than ads. There we go.
Oh.
Here you go.
Right in my ear. All right, hyper local tourism, just one city. Again, we've kind of talked about some other niche sites that are very similar to this. If you're going to do it, corner the market. I think if you live in the city, that's even better, because like Ricky said earlier, you can actually gain a relationship with these small local places that big travel sites aren't going to be able to get their hands on. I think that's your biggest benefit here. Can be, I mean, with affiliate products or affiliate promotions that you can work out with small businesses, this could be great.
Oh, another one on learning English. So this is another learning English website. They're earning a pretty good income. I think you could earn more with this amount of traffic in a lot of industries. Language learning actually tends to do pretty well. There are a lot of good language learning channels on YouTube, as well as websites. I think YouTube is a great place though, because hearing it, I think, is more valuable than just seeing it. So if you're going to do a blog, make sure you incorporate video as well.
Man, 30 seconds is so fast. Music production for home studios. I think this is a great niche. It looks like this site's on the smaller side, probably growing. So many opportunities here. I've reviewed niches in similar spaces. We've had niches in the past in similar spaces, and they've done really well. I think that if you are very knowledgeable on the topic, that it could be very, very good with affiliate and ads.
New Zealand travel. So like a lot of the other like specific location travel, again, I would try to find the stuff that's going to be unique. If you're trying to compete with like TripAdvisor and you're sharing the same, you know, top 10 places you need to see, and it's not going to do that well, right? And so you're going to want to definitely create content that's around like the top 10 places that locals never tell you about. That kind of content I think has a lot of potential, and you're going to want it to be featured prominently in the other content on your website, you know, have the related posts and stuff so that that gets seen, because a lot of those topics are going to be very interest-based and not specifically search-based. And so definitely take advantage of that sort of interlinking.
All right, parrots. Very similar to kind of a single pet niche. This site gets great traffic and has a pretty good monthly income. I think that you can probably even optimize the income even more here, but my guess is this is probably very passive income. Maybe some affiliate, maybe some ads, which is most common. But even like I've heard people talk about pet insurance and that sort of thing. I've heard that that's very valuable and a great opportunity to monetize. Pet sites I really like, actually, even though they are pretty competitive. I'm never gonna get used to that. Even though they're pretty competitive, you know, it could be a good niche to get into, especially if it's just something that you're passionate about. Maybe you have this type of pet. It's something that you can kind of easily incorporate into your life. And that goes for people who don't have pet sites. I mean, there are so many different kinds of pets, and that could be really, really good. And birds is kind of one that's that I hear less about. I hear a lot about, you know, kind of the typical dogs, cats, fish, but birds I think is a really cool niche. So a great job on the income and on the page views, especially if that page view amount for a single niche kind of pet is pretty cool.
This next one is a personal finance and review website. Not making very much yet. This is, again, we've talked about finance a bit. It's very lucrative if you can break in, but to break in, you need something unique about you, about the approach that you take, something that's not going to be just like everybody else. There are a lot of people willing to teach finance because they can push credit card offers and they get really, really good payment for those leads. So anyway, you're going to need to do something a little bit different and something, well, I was going to say unique, but that's like redundant.
Saved. All right, programming. This is kind of a cool niche. This is something that a lot of people are very interested in. This is something, as far as careers go, I think that's probably one spot. Kind of when we talk about civil engineering, they probably take a very similar approach to this niche. And so this one also, I mean, it has some good monthly page views here. The monetization's on the low side. And so I'd look for affiliate programs, something like that to boost the monetization. And I think that that's going to help you. Info products I think could also be a really big one here, whether it's a kind of a one-off course, some sort of guide. That would probably be lower end on the monetization. A membership, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think that people could be willing to pay for information, especially people who are just looking to get into it, and maybe seriously as a career or even as a hobby potentially.
The next one is Python programming, and so you've picked a specific language, but it's a really popular one. And so because of that, I do think that there's enough room for it. I think programming itself might be really on the broad side unless you pick certain languages or certain career paths specifically to go down. Python programming, you've niched down to one specific type. The monetization here is on the low side. Again, I think it's hard. You're going to be focused mostly on ads. I mean, there's not a lot of affiliate programs. Maybe maybe you could be an affiliate for someone else's course until you come up with your own sort of info product. I think that's a good idea.
All right, quotes. Really interesting niche here. Legality around quotes. Can you get? I mean, you're citing the person. I mean, I don't know. Kind of a cool niche. I mean, 60,000 page views. Right. So obviously driving some traffic here. I do kind of wonder about search intent. As far as monetization goes, you're probably gonna be looking at display ads. People probably aren't buying anything here. So that's about all I have to say about that.
Racket Sports. I think this is good. I think by choosing Racket Sports, you've niched down within sports but still giving yourself tons and tons of room. I think one of the risks here might be still spreading too thin, right? Because there's so many racket sports. But anyway, it seems to be doing really well. So yeah, I think it's a great niche. And monetization, I think you could do a lot just even with ads and affiliate.
All right,
I'll stop
real
there.
estate. Real estate's a really cool niche. This is one that we've actually talked about quite a bit. I think that even a semi-local real estate site could do pretty well. Lead generation here could be huge, especially right now with the housing markets how they are, especially across the U.S. This could be probably pretty popular right now. But overall, I think that this one is a great idea locally if you can connect with local realtors and other people who are actually doing real estate. Even if you're not like actually in the real estate business yourself, you could kind of take your slice of the pie, especially if you have some knowledge about the subject. I'd be interested to hear what you think just quickly about like monetization other than lead generation.
Yeah, I think lead generation is going to be a really good one. I think it'll do pretty well with ads because there's so much commercial intent there. People that are searching about real estate in an area typically are people with money. And so I think the RPMs from your ads are going to be higher than a lot of websites. So I think it's a good topic if you could break in. Retro gaming. This is one that I think it's cool. Gaming is a huge industry. There's a lot of people. I mean, back when I worked at HP, they talked about how like, I can't remember, but the world championship of some one game like had more viewers live than the Super Bowl. It's a huge industry, and retro gaming I think is a big enough piece of that there's obviously plenty of room for it. The traffic on this website is incredible, and because of that, the income's really good. The RPM, or the EPMP as we call it, which is the earnings per thousand or per milli page views, is on the low side, but because they're able to get so much volume, they're able to earn a great income from it. So I think that's been a good approach for them.
All right, sewing. Sewing is again kind of a craft niche. It's not crafting in general, but I think that it's one that there's a lot of people who are interested in it. Very, very dedicated audience there. Probably products to be sold, products to be affiliates for. Ads you probably do pretty well because people do have some buying intent there. I guess I don't know a ton about sewing, people don't come after me, but I think that a lot of those products might be on the lower end cost-wise or comparatively. Again, that almost hit the camera. All right. But anyway, I think that sewing is a good niche. It's broad enough that you are not going to be pigeonholed. The ceiling's not going to be too low. But I don't know. I'm very flustered.
Are we done yet? Okay.
Yeah.
The next one, soccer coaching. I think that's fun. There's a lot more people coaching than I would have thought, because especially with kids soccer, there are people making great money with coaching websites. And so I would maybe look at what some people have done, not necessarily just in the soccer industry, but just in coaching in general. You might look at some other websites and sort of see what's worked really well for them. Because I know some people are really killing it with coaching-based websites.
Software reviews, comparisons, alternatives. I think that affiliate is going to be the big game.
For
here. You can make a lot of money, especially for recurring affiliate, and the traffic here is pretty good. The income's pretty good. I think that the more you branch out into different types of software, the more money you can make there. So cool niche.
Yep. The next one, solar power. Solar power is getting really, really popular today. So I do think that there's a lot of room for it. I also think it's getting really crowded with ads. There's a lot of, I see so many solar power ads that, I don't know, maybe to me that just feels like it's kind of making it very muddy. But if you had a really good website that really covered the topic really well, that's good, and really helped people with the decision-making process and truly and accurately covered kind of the pros and cons and those kinds of things, I think that would be really refreshing. Kind of like a water balloon to the face.
I don't know if I could compare it to that. All right, surf fishing. This site, kind of on the smaller side, probably still growing. Fishing is a great topic. Outdoors, lots of things to be purchased. Surf fishing, I will be completely honest, I don't even know what that is. I imagine someone on a surfboard with a fishing pole.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think that's it though. So I just know fishing in general has done really well. Anyway, great niche.
Next one, teardrop van life and small camper camping. I think that's great. We've had campers do really, really well. And so I like the idea of the small camper. I think it's a perfect way to niche down. That works really well. The URL that you've chosen gives you room to branch out in the future if that ends up being too small.
And last but not least, teen nutrition. Great page views here, an income that's probably still growing. There are a lot of teens. and there will continue to be a lot of teens. And so I think that this, while it is kind of sub-niche down, especially since there's a lot of development happening at that stage of life, I actually kind of like this niche because it does kind of break it down from something that's super, super big into something that's kind of, I don't know, it just kind of works. And so this is kind of a cool one. Again, some YMYL here. It's going to be kind of health related. You'll have to make sure that the topics you choose are not falling into the super medical. And I think that there are some topics that you can do that. We've had sites in the past that they kind of teetered on the edge of YMYL, and we actually found some topics that worked. Again, especially if you have some expertise in the niche, if you are kind of a health or fitness or nutrition coach or whatever, something like that, this could be a great niche site. So well done. I hope that this site continues to grow for you.
So we've done it. We've covered 75 niches in this video. I want to make sure that you know as well that coming up in our very next video, and next Tuesday, we are going to be talking about our blogging system. This is the approach that we're taking to a lifetime of blogging. Every step from start to finish, and finish meaning like into perpetuity, about how to build and create a profitable blog-based business. So make sure you don't miss it. You can go ahead and click on the end screen that will cover Nathan's face, and that will allow you to go over and actually view where that's going to be. We're going to do a premiere, and so it'll show up live. I'll be there in the chat with you. You can set a reminder even. So make sure you go do that, and we'll see you all there.
Click over in the next 30 seconds, or we're coming for you with the water balloon.